Does the economy only work if you feel good about stocks? That's one of the lead stories in the Wall Street Journal today that left me thinking. Consider this. Gains in 30 top AI stocks alone have added $5 trillion to household wealth across the country in the last year, according to a recent JP Morgan analysis. Federal Reserve data shows Americans gained more than $63 trillion in wealth from the first quarter of 2020 through the second quarter of 2025. Art, this is something that I've really been thinking a lot on of late, but really throughout the whole year. And we're seeing a great year for the stock market, but the average household, they don't seem to be participating in it.
Yeah, the reason for that, Brian, is it's a bifurcated ownership of equity. So 62% of Americans have ownership of U.S. equities. But if you were to take that a step further and say, of those households that have more than $100,000, that number goes up to 84%. Of those households that have income of less than $50,000, the number goes down to 22%. So it's very bifurcated, and I think that's reflective of what we're seeing in the economy and consumers in general in this K-shaped economy, where the upper end, those that have more access to the capital gains and movements in markets, are continuing to drive consumer spending. The lower end of that is certainly the other part of that K-shaped recovery that we're going through right now. Just don't have that kind of flexibility and don't have wages that are growing faster than inflation.
Art, you think that cohort is in a recession?
That cohort is at or near a recession. If you look at that cohort and break it down even further, the unemployment rates for most of that cohort are twice what the unemployment rate is for the country. So it's certainly that part of the U.S. economy that's hurt the most, and then there's obviously reasons for that. But when you look at unemployment rates just alone, that cohort has 2x the unemployment rate that the rest of the country has.
Brooke, Art brings up a really good point. We've seen it through the prism of so many of these fast food results. Even Wendy's, I think, reported last week almost a 5% decline in same-store sales in the U.S. Their international business is doing better than their U.S. business.
Brian, what we've seen is this true K-shaped economy play out across retail, across fast food, even Coach tapping into Gen Z, while Gen Z can't seem to win over, or Kava can't seem to win over Gen Z. It's really this bifurcation that we're seeing across income cohorts, age groups, and really these companies trying to tap in to win big. For example, Wendy's might not have done well here in the U.S., but McDonald's brought back that extra value meal, that $5 and $8 price point, and that's resonating with low-income consumers. And so it's really about who's playing the best game here, who's leaning into value the most to gain these income cohorts that are clearly under pressure due to unemployment, higher rent, and also, don't forget, we had the return of that student loan repayments kick off back in April, and that is really hurting Gen Z right now.
Inez, thank God for the rich, right?
I mean, look, they're the ones that are spending, but definitely if you hold assets, you did well this year. If you held stocks, if you held metals, if you held crypto, you did well. And if you didn't have money to put in the markets, or if you put the money aside and thought, well, I'll wait for a better time to go into the market, you basically shorted the market. I mean, if an asset holder does well in this kind of environment. We've talked about the debasement trade before. We've talked, I know I've repeated myself over the value of money, but people see it.